This is the wolf. White wolf and the black wolf. And the muskox. That's the Eskimo glasses. Eskimo wearing shoes. And the white
That has to be bottom because this thing fits in right channel. Or right in.
canoes. Oof. Those things they live under the ground in Alaska. The groundhogs and bats and squirrels and living on the trees there. Bats. This they call it lynx. Looks like a cat. Bears. The baby bear. There's the mama bear. And the last small baby bear. buffalo.
And the outside photo is a control. Glass tubes contain some neon gas in what otherwise is a vacuum.
And the Alaska goose. Birds. Bluebirds. This is the Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church. Highest Nicholas, St. Nicholas. That's in Russian. Another bear. Big one. And the fish. Another exhibit of Indian clothing and sandals. There. Hi. Where the hell? Where's the airplane? Going to the Indian reservation. Fly over the boundaries. There you go. We're waiting, I don't know if we will see it.
the eroding riverbanks on the way.
This is a normal color.
But there's open water right here all the time.
Well, they have to. Those are birds.
Where are the
Birds.
Just a few of them left, the swallows.
Swallows.
They're further out over the water.
The swallows, they eat only mosquitoes.
Good. They go out fishing in this weather?
People?
If they want to make a living.
Yeah, there's been people out there. Not right here because we don't have the current here.
Go tell me something in Greek. Tikanis. Kalaisi. I'll think so. What else, you know?
Just papoose and yaya.
Papoose, I'm papoose.
You're a papoose.
I'm papoose, yeah.
And yaya.
Yeah, and this is my wife's, yeah.
Little glass.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You see, you can find Greeks every place.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But I lived in Kirkland.
Well, Kirkland, we're from Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, really?
Down the Columbia River.
They drive them, 50 below weather and they crack easy. They don't plow the roads around here too much. We only get about 2 feet of snow. If we get 3 to 4 feet of snow, that's a lot of snow. Too cold to snow. It never snows colder than 20 below zero. And one of the local bed and breakfasts is right here on the right-hand side. Surprising. The bank is this vault. Like a wine cellar, well, you've got a whiskey bank. Okay. They're building some sort of campground over there. Lots of trash around. The wind's been blowing for 3 days now. A lot of waves on the Yukon because the water's not very deep. There's a few days when you should stay home, and this was one of them. Short trips to the fish wheels, it's fine, but not a 200-mile trip or something like that. Transported back to the powerhouse where diesel-run generators produce electricity. And liquor's very expensive. A friend of mine, most of these homes, log cabins in the downtown area, this is what we call the downtown area, they're abandoned. We have government housing projects on the upper end of the village, and we've opened up some new subdivisions. And so a lot of these older log cabins have been abandoned for more modern homes with complete indoor plumbing and all the comforts. I live over here in the blue house. Yeah, my wife wants to know when I'm going to finish the house. I'm waiting for the electrician. We do have running water in the village. It's a circulating system, comes out of a well. But for indoor plumbing, you need a holding tank. There's no ground leaching here. There's no... Very expensive. Electricity is 46 cents a kilowatt hour. Gasoline runs $2.85 a gallon. High cost of living out here. These cabins right here date from the 1920s on the right-hand side. Is that Jackie? I gotta know everybody. That's Donna, huh? Another Donna. I won't tell you what we call her. But on the right-hand side is a satellite dish, and that brings in our telephone service. There's no cell phones out here. Cellular phones just not available. Sort of running and leaning more toward the short-haired dogs, especially if we're going to be competitive in some of the races that run in the springtime. These dogs have raced in the village races here and in another village. They've also competed in the Junior Yukon Quest out of Fairbanks, which is a 120-mile race for teenagers. My youngest son competed in that race for 2 years, and he finished 10th both years. Finished was our main objective. We would hope to win, but just didn't gel together. Rich was playing basketball. it was very difficult in the early days before the arrival of the Europeans to, we was in full-time survival mode. Very nomadic people, traveling all over in the winter months. We did not spend the winters in the Yukon Flats. It was following caribou herds. And our main mode of transportation, of course, was by walking. In the springtime, we would build skin boats from the caribou hides in the spring hunt and come down the rivers into the valley and wait for the salmon to arrive. We do have 7 local game fish that live here year-round. But once again, salmon, king salmon is the most prized fish. Rich in oil, very rich. And most of it is cold smoke. We try to stay away from heat. A lot of air and smoke. Takes about 10 days to 2 weeks to cure fish. And of course, let's see, oh, no boyfriend today. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. She's usually hanging on to him, squeezing the air out of him. Yeah. School teachers' kids. Bring them kids like that out to the village, they go ape every time. It's entertaining. Yeah, there's my sister, my dad. Gee, all the relatives there, most of them. On the left-hand side is the postmaster, and he's also a local wood venter. That's the postmaster general in the driveway. Local guy. Got a job working in the post office during high school and just stayed with it. He's been our postmaster for about 20 years, but he's been working for the Postal Service for about 25 years. He's going to have to work for 30 years, he said, in order to afford retirement. He's still young. But most of the residential homes here depend on wood heat for their main source. The Episcopal Church is the biggest and oldest church in the village right here on the left. And it had to get a new roof last year because that old excuse finally kicked in. The University of Alaska has a campus building here with logs that were brought in by barge. Those logs actually came out of Fairbanks. Now we do have timber around here that big, about 50 miles up the river. But being our certificate programs, we do have an instructor coordinator here, but most of the classes are delivered through audio conference. And my wife. Main Street right here, the airport's down on the left. And when that lower village was destroyed by ice in 1949, this was all turned into residential place. They built a whole new village up here. We call it Crow Town. Small log cabins, perfectly lined up. You know, this is an interesting thing I noticed about Fort Yukon. All the public buildings we have in town, nobody planned for parking. There is no parking. You go to the post office, you gotta just be on the street. There's no parking. With an ammonia gas that keeps the permafrost from thawing out. And elevated, of course. Same with the state office building on the left-hand side. And these tiny log cabins were standard-sized homes for many years. Up until the mid-70s, it was standard to... tell that kid to pull her head back in the window. Get back in there. She's hanging out the window. Just not to do that. Anyway, we was raised in a small distant early warning system with 90 to 100 Air Force men stationed up there on it for about 11 channels, including HBO, so pretty good buy. I don't have cable TV though, so try to stay away from it. They also run a laundromat in there, and they got a police station. We have police officers here. But that don't mean there's law enforcement. Don't get them confused. Yeah. I think my dad's talking about firing the whole department. Yeah. He's going to let that soak in. He's dropped some remarks here I heard in the last couple of days. And you just watch now. But in a couple of months, they'll